Hey BookTube, welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday evening. We just had a thunderstorm here in Colorado, and the lawn is finally doing well. So say, for all you theology fans out there, you'll be happy for this one. It's been a while since I've done a theology, New Arrivals Hall, Christian theology. But I've got about 7 or 8 books here I want to show you. Some of them are brand new, and I've got some review copies here I want to show. Actual finished copies, I think, for all of them. But also a couple of books I ordered used. But let's start with the newest stuff first. And one of the authors, I basically kind of went on picking up 3 books by the same author. I'm kind of intrigued by his work, and I want to check it out. One of these authors, I've got 2 of his other books, and so this is his latest, and I wanted to get that as well and see what this one's about. But let's start with, it's so tough to know where to begin. Okay, let's start here. All right, we're going to start with this book because it just looks super fun, and I really need to take it to heart. This is from Baker Academic, and this is Deep Reading. Practices to Subvert the Vices of Our Distracted, Hostile, and Consumeristic Age by Rachel B. Griffiths, Julia Ooms, and Rachel M. D. Smith Roberts. So, Baker Academic. This is a brand new release. It's kind of neat. It says say here, I don't have a pub sheet, but it's a lot of blurbs on this book. It says basically on the back, presenting reading as a remedy for prevalent cultural vices, distraction, hostility, and consumerism. This book helps readers contribute to the flourishing of their communities and cultivate their own spiritual and intellectual depth. So, any type of book about reading or how to read better, I'm always interested in. And this one definitely has a more a spiritual aspect to it. So this is brand new out from Baker Academic, Deep Reading. So I'm happy to check this one out. Next book, I got 2 here, and this is introducing the author that I'm going to show you 2 other of his books. But this is his most recent book, brand new. It's part of a new series from Eerdmans called The Divine Self. And this is volume 1. So I'm looking forward to collecting these and checking these out. Because I've already kind of looked through it, and I've been reading portions of it, and it's perfect for me. I love this stuff. And this is a beautiful volume. This is Shaman and Sage, The Roots of Spiritual but Not Religious in Antiquity. Yes, they were even saying that asinine phrase back in antiquity. I'm spiritual but not religious. What the hell does that even mean anyway? I don't know. And I know a lot of you will chime in the well, not a lot of you, but someone will, and say, it is the thing. Okay, it annoys me because I never really know what the hell it signifies. You burn candles. What does it mean when you are spiritual? Do you're meditating? Anyway, so Shaman and Sage, The Roots of Spiritual but Not Religious in Antiquity by Michael Horton. Now, so when I saw this and I read the description, I was like, I have to dive into this because I've always been really annoyed with that whole argument. So the fact that he's taking it all the way back to theology is fantastic. I mean, theology, antiquity. Sorry. So let me read to you the jacket copy because this really gets to the heart of the matter. Is spiritual but not religious a new thing, or as old as Western civilization? Discussions of the rapidly increasing number of people identifying as spiritual but not religious tend to focus on the past century. But the SBNR, and that's the acronym for it, but the SBNR phenomenon and the values that underlie it may be older than Christianity itself. Michael Horton reveals that the hallmarks of modern spirituality, such as autonomy, individualism, utopianism, and more have their foundations in Greek philosophical religion. Horton makes the case that the development of the shaman figure in the axial age, particularly its itinerant, sorry guys, particularly its iteration among orphists, represented a divine self. Okay, one must realize the divinity within the self to break free from physicality and become one with a pantheistic unity. Time and again, this tradition of divinity hiding in nature has arisen as an alternative to monotheistic submission to a God who intervenes in creation. Indeed. I noticed that too. There's a lot of these earth religions or whatever, but people finding like God in a rock and stuff like that. Well, God created the rock, so I guess in a sense you might say there's, it's a creation, but it's not in itself divine. Do you know what I'm saying? This first volume traces the development of a utopian view of the human individual, a divine soul longing to break free from all limits of body, history, and the social and natural world. When the second and third volumes are complete, students and scholars will consult the divine self as the authoritative guide to the spiritual but not religious tendency as a recurring theme in Western culture from antiquity to the present. So, yes! I think I want to read this one first. This sounds so just up my alley. It's juicy. I can tear into it because it is something that is a pet peeve of mine as a Christian. Anyway, Shaman and Sage, The Roots of Spiritual but Not Religious in Antiquity. This is volume 1, brand new from Eerdmans Publishing by Michael Horton. Thank you, Eerdmans, for this review copy. And I look forward to getting started on that. That's going on the bedside table. Now, I have two more other books by Michael Horton, but there are a couple of his older books. So I'll save those towards the end because I ordered those used. All right. Another brand new title, brand new release from Eerdmans, and thank you again for this review copy. And it's part of a new series, actually, that I think I want to look into and try to get some of these others for myself here. It's part of their new series. I think it's called... It's part of their Library of Religious Biography series. And this is the latest entry in that. Looks like the last one they had was in February of this year, and it was... Oh, I want to get that one. It was A Prairie Faith, The Religious Life of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Definitely want to get that. So I'm going to look that up after I make this video. But this one looks really good, guys. And you know me, I love history and presidential history and everything else. So this kind of ties together. One Lost Soul, Richard Nixon's Search for Salvation by Daniel Silliman. Brand new from Eerdmans Publishing. These are like slim little volumes, a little less than 300 pages or so. 300 pages with the index. I'm curious about this, though. So the night before his resignation, Richard Nixon wept and prayed. Though his demanding parents had raised him Quaker, he wasn't a regular churchgoer, nor was he quick to express vulnerability. As Henry Kissinger witnessed Nixon's loneliness and humiliation that night, he remarked, "Can you imagine what this man would have been had somebody loved him?" I remember that line. In this provocative and riveting biography, Daniel Silliman cuts to the heart of Nixon's tragedy. Nixon wanted to be loved by God, but couldn't figure out how. This profound theological struggle underlay his successes and scandals, his turbulent political career, his history-changing victories, and his ultimate disgrace. As Silliman narrates the arc of his subject's life and career, he connects Nixon's character to religious influences in 20th century America, from Cold War Christianity to Chick tracts. I don't know what Chick tracts are. Silliman paints a nuanced spiritual portrait of the 37th president, just as he offers fresh insights into U.S. political and religious history. Readers who live through Watergate will discover a new perspective on an infamous controversy. I was born the year of Watergate. I think I was probably a few months old when that happened. Anyway, Now I just revealed my age. Thank you, everybody. Readers who live through Watergate will discover a new perspective on an infamous controversy. A historical page-turner, One Lost Soul will surprise and absorb students, scholars, and anyone who likes a good story. And who doesn't? I know I do. Yes. So again, they have other books in this series, the Library of Religious Biography. I love it. And here's like a listing on the front page here, the Library of Religious Biography. They got Billy Graham, Howard Thurman, Winston Churchill, Ruth Bell Graham, Dwight D. Eisenhower. And then on the pub sheet, others that are listed here are not Oral Roberts, but Tina Turner, Sojourner Truth. And they have a full list available at eerdmans.com. So, I love it. I love Library of Religious Biography series. Thank you, Eerdmans. I am going to be checking out your back catalog. So 2 great brand new releases from Eerdmans. Looking forward to getting into. Then the next book is from... Oh, thank you very much. Whip and Stock Publishers. Brand new book out from Rob Dalrymple with a foreword by Scott McKnight, who I believe is a Catholic theologian. And this one is, I think also it's kind of Catholic in its approach, I believe. Maybe. This is Revelation, a love story. Rob Dalrymple. This is from Cascade Books, which is an imprint of Whip and Stock. So as you can see, Whip and Stock down there. I've had books from Whip and Stock before. They're really good. They're very academic and rigorous. So what appealed to me about this book is, well, I'm kind of moving. I'm almost finished doing my Bible study on 1 Corinthians, and I really, really want to get into Revelation. I think that might be my next Bible study project. So I'm kind of trying to look at different angles, different writers from different traditions about Revelation. So in this case, I'm pretty sure it could be Scott McKnight. To me, he sounds like, I think he is, no, he's professor of New Testament, but I'm thinking of another Scott. I think I'm thinking of another Scott who's Catholic. Anyway, let me check on that real quick, but I think I know. Okay, yep, just checked. Scott Hahn is the Catholic gentleman I was thinking about. So let me give you a description of what Revelation, a love story, is about. Could the cry, "Come out of her, my people," not be needed more today than it was when John penned the Apocalypse? The book of Revelation begins and ends with the affirmation that God is the world's true Lord, not Caesar. In telling this story, John lays out for us the fact that Christ's kingdom is not like the kingdoms of the world. The kingdoms of the world rule by force and at the expense of the masses and for the benefit of those in power. Jesus' kingdom, however, comes through love. In Christ's kingdom, power is demonstrated by laying down one's life for one's enemies. Jesus, of course, demonstrated this kind of love on the cross, and he calls us to do the same. We have nothing to fear. After all, Jesus was dead and now he's alive, and he has the keys to death and Hades. Unfortunately, many interpreters now have come to believe that the devastation and destruction depicted in the book of Revelation, in particular in the accounts of the 7 seals and the 7 bowls, are God's end times wrath. But have we ever stopped to consider that this portrait of God is fundamentally at odds with the gospel and with Jesus' call for us to love one another even as he loved us? The book of Revelation tells a different story. All right. Again, this is going to check all the boxes for what I'm looking for prior to my, doing a deep dive into the book of Revelation. I'm very excited. I need something like this going on right now. Fantastic. So in between the Shaman and the Sage and now Revelation, a love story, I've definitely got my my Christian and theology reading on the nightstand ready to go. The nightstand is like, So thank you, Whip and Stock, for this copy of Revelation, a love story. I can't wait to just be blessed by it. Let me take a sip of my London Fog. I haven't made one of these in like over a month. I don't know why. I fell out of the habit. But when fall arrives, I will be a tea-drinking fool up in here. All right, and then this book is from Crossways. This is a brand new release from Crossway Books. And I have two of the other books written by Carl R. Trueman. I have The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self. No, wait, I don't have that one. I have Strange New World. How Thinkers and Activists Redefined Identity and Sparked the Sexual Revolution. Actually, I think I have the other one. Because the covers looked very much the same, but there were two different titles. The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self, Cultural Amnesia, Expressive Individualism, and The Road to Sexual Revolution. So now he has another new book with a nice long title called Crisis of Confidence, Reclaiming the Historic Faith in a Culture Consumed with Individualism and Identity, by Carl R. Trueman. It's a brand new hardcover. So let me get into this. How the creeds and confessions of the past can protect the church today. Historic statements of faith, such as the Apostles' Creed, the Heidelberg Catechism, and the Westminster Confession of Faith, have helped the Christian church articulate and adhere to God's truth for centuries. However, many modern evangelicals reject these documents and the practices of catechesis, proclaiming no creed but the Bible. And yet, in today's rapidly changing culture, ancient confessional tradition is not only biblical, it's essential. In this revised and expanded edition of his book, The Creedal Imperative, Carl Trueman analyzes how creeds and confessions help the Christian church navigate modern concerns, particularly around the fraught issue of expressive individualism. Contending that statements of faith promote humility, moral structure, and a godly view of personhood, he helps believers maintain a strong foundation amid a culture in crisis. Let's see. Oh, Carl Trueman. He's a member of the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. Interesting. I was once a Presbyterian. I am no longer a Presbyterian. Now I am, I don't know, unaffiliated, I guess. But leaning toward Lutheran, so whatever. So Crisis of Confidence by Carl R. Trueman, Reclaiming the Historic Faith in a Culture Consumed with Individualism and Identity, from Crossway Books. Another good one. Okay, so now I got two really juicy books. Definitely more of a, Catholic angle on these. But I've been wanting to read this for a long time, and I know it's a classic. I first learned about this book through Johnny Keene's channel when he mentioned it. So it was always in the back of my mind, and I almost picked up a Penguin Classics edition of this. But then I noticed that Princeton University, one of my favorites, Princeton University Press, had a beautiful edition with an introduction by Eamon Duffy. And so I wanted to dive into this, The Golden Legend, Readings on the Saints, by Jacobus de Voragine. And with an introduction, like I said, by Eamon Duffy, translated by William Granger Ryan. This is just a daily listing, not a daily listing, but it's just numbered by it goes into each person who was sainted. But let me just read to you the jacket copy. Depicting the lives of the saints in an array of factual and fictional stories, The Golden Legend was perhaps the most widely read book after the Bible during the late Middle Ages. All right. It was compiled around 1260 by Jacobus de Voragine, a scholarly friar and later Archbishop of Genoa, whose purpose was to captivate, encourage, and edify the faithful, while preserving a vast store of information pertaining to the legends and traditions of the Church. In this translation, the first in English of the complete text, William Granger Ryan captures the immediacy of this rich work, which offers an important guide for readers interested in medieval art and literature, and more generally in popular religious culture. Arranged according to the order of saints' feast days, these fascinating stories are now combined into one volume. This edition also features an introduction by Eamon Duffy contextualizing the work. So, it's a big one. St. Ambrose, I'm just opening up to any page, so it's going to kind of be laid out like that. You have these like short chapters, although St. Ambrose is not a short chapter. Okay. Not St. George either. Some of these will be longer than others, obviously. Got a St. Juliana, which outlasts all of this page. And then we move it over. The Chair of St. Peter. So, beautiful, brand new, it came out recently, but it came out in the last 10 years, but this is a really beautiful edition, so I wanted to get this to read about the saints. And then Princeton sent me a review copy as well of CatholicSpectacle and Rome's Jews, Early Modern Conversion and Resistance by Emily Mitchelson. CatholicSpectacle and Rome's Jews. All right. This book came out a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. It's pretty new. It's a pretty new book. So let me tell you what this one is about, although there's only blurbs on the back. Well, I had the description on the web page when I was looking at it. So, okay. I'll just read a couple of these blurbs here. Exploring the significance of conversionary sermons to the Jews of Rome in the era of Catholic revival, this book provides an important contribution to the study of early modern religious, intellectual, and social history. While the fact of conversionary preaching to Roman Jews is well known, its duration, content, agents, locations, and the reactions of its target audience are not. Okay. This book makes a major contribution to the history of the Catholic Church as well as to the history of early modern Rome. So yeah, preaching to Rome's Jews, that's something I have not read about, and conversion in early modern Rome, so I'm intrigued. The career of preachers, how sermons to Jews worked, It's interesting. It's something very, very different. And that's the picture on the cover, I believe. Yeah, the painting. So, CatholicSpectacle and Rome's Jews, another great companion piece to my other one from Princeton. So, let's go into three of the books I picked up to augment two more books here by Michael Horton. So, I guess I'm kind of getting into Michael Horton now. So, I think the most recent one is this one. So I'm going to go with the older one. This book is way old. I think I might have actually have an older copy somewhere of this, but I picked up again used Christless Christianity, the Alternative Gospel of the American Church. Michael Horton, foreword by William Williman. All right. The Church in America has been willingly taken captive. Now, this book was written or published in 2008, I should say. The Church in America has been willingly taken captive. The captors are American culture and ideals. Consumerism. We see a lot of that in these book titles. Consumerism. Pragmatism. Why am I not talking correctly? Consumerism, pragmatism, self-sufficiency, individualism, positive thinking, personal prosperity, and nationalism. These are antithetical to the gospel, but we have nevertheless made them part and parcel with it. We are well on our way to a Christless Christianity. I think that is still true. 16 years later. It's even worse now. The result? A faith that is, in Michael Horton's prophetic words, trivial, sentimental, affirming, and irrelevant. This alternative gospel is a message of moralism, personal comfort, self-help, self-improvement, and individualistic religion. It trivializes God, making him a means to our selfish ends. In this critically acclaimed book, Horton skillfully diagnoses the problem and points to the solution, a return to the unadulterated gospel of salvation. Amen. Here is a must-read for anyone concerned about the state and future of Christianity and the church in America. And, I know that the church will always survive because God has told us that it will. And it has survived worse times than this, so it will. But we can never lose sight of Christ, who needs to be at the center of it. Any church I go to, if the sermon is not talking about Jesus, it's off topic. It is not a sermon. Every sermon has to talk about the saving work of Jesus Christ. So some churches out there are so far away from that, it's pretty damn scary and appalling. Anyway, Christless Christianity, Michael Horton. So I will pair that up with my other Michael Horton book here, Shaman and Sage. I can't wait to read that when he's like taking that, just talking about the whole spiritual but not religious approach, or the whole, that whole vibe, as the kids say. Okay, and then the next book by Michael Horton. Now, this is a newer book, probably the second to last book that he's written. It came out in 2022, and this is from Zondervan. I think I found a used copy, a hardcover, and I picked up Recovering Our Sanity, How the Fear of God Conquers the Fears That Divide Us. And there's a foreword by Russell Moore. Small hardcover. It says here, with 24-hour news cycles and constant immersion in a world of screens and social media, we are bombarded by news reports about layoffs, the dangers of climate change, and threats to our health. Exploited by politicians who crave our alliance, fear is used to breed hatred and further divide us from one another. In Recovering Our Sanity, author Michael Horton argues that we need to resist the pull of our fear-driven culture. He mines the riches of Scripture and theology to help us better understand how a proper fear of God liberates us from enslavement to the paralyzing fears which drive the disintegration of our society, our families, and our own lives. Fun news right here. Let's see here. So this sounds interesting. I love discovering a new writer, and then I usually go all in and try to get like 2 or 3 other books at the same time. I was just reading a little bit of the foreword here. Sorry. I could dive into it right now. It looks fantastic. So I picked up Michael Horton's other book, Recovering Our Sanity, and then the final book. I've been meaning to read this, and I think I did buy this on Amazon. This might not be used. I think this might actually just be a new copy that was marked down, like a bargain book. And this is Andrew Klavan, who he's now writing like mystery. He's written a lot of fiction stuff, some young adult, and I think now he's writing like a mystery series, which I'm going to check out. But this is his personal story. This is The Great Good Thing. A secular Jew comes to faith in Christ. So this one's not theology so much as a memoir, but I wanted to include it because I just picked it up and it kind of fits under this rubric here of Christian writing, theology, whatnot. So this just sounds like a really good read. I'll probably fly right through it because he's a good writer. He also has a podcast. No one was more surprised than Andrew Klavan when, at the age of 50, he found himself about to be baptized. Best known for his hard-boiled white-knuckle thrillers and for the movies made from them, among them, True Crime, and Don't Say a Word, Klavan was born in a suburban Jewish enclave outside New York City. He left the faith of his childhood to live as an agnostic in the secular, sophisticated atmosphere of New York, London, and Los Angeles. But his lifelong quest for truth in his life and in his work was leading him to a place he never expected. In The Great Good Thing, Klavan tells us how his troubled childhood caused him to live inside the stories in his head and grow up to become an alienated young writer whose disconnection and rage devolved into depression and suicidal breakdown. But he also stumbled into a genuine romance, a passionate and committed marriage whose uncommon and enduring devotion convinced him of the reality of love. In those years, Klavan fought to ignore the insistent call of God, a call glimpsed in a childhood Christmas at the home of a beloved babysitter, in a transcendent moment at his daughter's birth, and in a snippet of a baseball game broadcast that moved him from the brink of suicide. But more than anything, the call of God existed in stories. The stories Klavan loved to read and the stories he loved to write. The Great Good Thing is the dramatic, soul-searching story of a man born into an age of disbelief who had to abandon everything he thought he knew in order to find his way to the truth. So yeah, I'm really going to enjoy this. And there's our author, Andrew Klavan. He's just a really articulate, well-spoken guy, and I think his writing, like I said, this will be my first time reading him. I think I tried reading one of his young adult stories, and I think I was just like, ooh, I think this is not my target, you know, but it was well written. I just was like, this, I don't like young adult stuff, I'm sorry. But I am going to check out his mystery series, which begins with a Christmas story of all things. That's downstairs, anyway. You know me, I'm always picking up new books. What? So there you have it, you guys. I've got quite a lot of juicy new theology books to dive into. Memoir. I've got the Lives of the Saints over here. Let me see if I can hold up the stack because it's pretty heavy. I wonder if we're going to get any more rain. And then, oh, it's a heavy, heavy stack. Here we go. Whoa. I need 2 arms for that, baby. What do you think? Huh? All right. Woo! Well, luckily, I do have space on my shelves for these. So that is my latest New Christian Theology roundup. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm always happy to chat with you guys. I always learn something new, too. You guys are always dropping knowledge bombs in the comment section. So don't, have at it. Don't let me stop you. All right, BookTube, well, happy hump day. And I hope to make another video for you here and have another video out in the next couple days. So stay tuned. Come back to the history shelf. And hey, I think I'm getting closer to a closing line. I'm going to have a tagline. Maybe in the next video. Okay, guys. Until next time, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon here at the History Shelf. Bye.